All right, track 8 is called Never Stop. I love that connection. I don't know if they had to have done that on purpose. Like having the last track be Keep It Going and then the track for the next one be Never Stop. Like, that's cool. I don't know what. I just think that's cool. This song is so fast. I was listening to it again, and then I was actually listening to, like, the instruments and stuff. Like, the guitar riffs and the drums. And, like, yo, how do they even play that? Okay, so I'm going to play minute 26. There's these, I think this is the second verse. The guitar is going crazy. Like, the guitar is just going, like, holy crap. I did not ever realize how quick that was. And the drums, obviously, too, are just insane. That was, like, one of the points I had. And then I also love, in the chorus, like, all the pauses. There's these pauses of, like, where the instruments break out for a sec, and then, like, everything, it happens, like, a handful of times. And I love that they did that. It just brings a cool element into the music that it's not just all fast, but it's like you get that breath for a sec, and it's just, I really like it. I didn't actually notice that specifically until I listened to it again this week, and I did not know how fast it was. That's actually insane that they recorded this.
Yes. That was a couple of different parts that I had with that as well, with the speed of it, which I think is not unintentional, because the song is called Never Stop, and so I was like, it's kind of not ironic that they're playing super, super fast and they're never stopping, right? Like,
right.
It's kind of funny. But then, also in contrast, like you mentioned in the chorus, when the instruments cut out for a second and then it hits back in, where, like, it does stop, so it's kind of like a funny, like, like, never stop, but then it does, and then it kicks back in, so just some kind of funny, whether it was intentional or not, just the theme of that, I think, is funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, this song is insanely fast. This is a classic with the punches drum part. Obviously, they did not invent this. This is in punk music for billions of years or whatever. But just the super fast bass snare over and over. It's like a ton of with the punches songs do this.
Yeah.
It's one of their classic go-tos for this EP specifically. Also, No Pressure. All of their songs, their drummer, this is like the only thing he knows how to play. I mean that in a good way. But like every single song is boop, bop, boop, bop, boop, bop, boop, bop, boop, bop, boop, bop. And so it just reminds me, every time I listen to with the Punches songs or No Pressure songs, it just reminds me of the other band. And I go, oh yeah, like they do this all the time.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, this song, I didn't put it in my notes as S tier, but like just listening back to a couple parts as you were talking about things, like this song is like, probably S tier. Like, I love this song. It is so good. It has awesome energy. The chorus is awesome. And I really, really like during the post-chorus, during the lyrics when he says, when you walked out, the first part, the first chorus, it puts that section in halftime, which I think is really, really sick. Gives it a little bit of variety, and it just makes that halftime part hit so much harder when it's been going nonstop, super, super fast, super, super fast. And then we hit the halftime. So I really, really like that part as well. Yeah, I totally love this song. This whole EP, I have tons of notes on here, so I'll try and keep it short. But yeah, this song slaps.
Say whatever you want.
It's awesome. So that's all I got for this one, though.
Track 9 is called No, I'm Not Going to 80s Night. I have no idea what that means, and I've always thought that was an odd title of a song, but
yeah, it's probably some inside joke or a movie quote or something. Right. Because I don't know what it means either. Some kind of pop culture reference, but yeah, I agree. I always thought it was funny, but I don't know what it's from.
This song, I mostly just that there are a lot of like cool sounding instrument parts. A part at 149 with the guitar, at 205 with the drums, and then 236 with the guitar. I didn't really write much about them, just other than the fact that they stood out for me. I also really like at 1 minute 18 seconds. There's this high bass note that's like so satisfying. And I always anticipate it when I'm listening to the song because it's not at the beginning. And so I was listening back to it and I was like anticipating that bass note coming in, and then it didn't go and I was like, oh, what? But let's play it. Let's see. Yeah. That ding.
Mm-hmm.
That I've always loved that, and the fact that it's not there in the beginning is like so unsatisfying for me. I'm like, oh, there's this empty space that's not filled by that note. Anyway, that's always stood out to me, and I've always loved that. Now I'm curious to know like what I meant by these parts, so I'm gonna play.
What was the timestamps?
The first one's at 1:49, the guitar part. Just that guitar going in the background. That digga 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 digga. That stuck out to me. I thought that was really cool. Oh, drums at 2:05 directly after. Let's see. Yeah, that part was cool too. I just like that drum fill in there. And then 2:36, there was a cool guitar part. Did any of you guys learn to play that part? That guitar riff in the background? I feel like that one's...
Or which part of the song?
At 2 minutes 36 seconds. There's that lead in the background. That da 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 da.
I'll go over some of the notes, but I can play this whole song on guitar. Yeah.
Oh, for real? Okay, that's probably why it sounded so familiar. I mean, there are a lot of these songs that I'm like, oh, I totally remember Tanner playing that, or oh, I remember Hunter learning how to play that.
Slaps. The guitar work is awesome, so I learned a lot of these ones.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so I'll touch on some of the things you mentioned. So that part at 1:49 or whatever, the da 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 or whatever, is that what you're talking about?
Uh-huh.
Where it goes over, yeah. So at first I heard that, I was like, okay, obviously this is really sick, and it's actually super super easy to play. It's just on the D string, and all you're doing is basically just doing a bunch of hammer-ons and pull-offs, going up a step on the scale. So you just start with open note, and then you hit the second fret, and then pull off to the open note, and then hit the fourth fret, pull off, fifth fret, pull off, seventh fret, pull off, and you just bounce back and forth depending on how it climbs up and down. So it's actually super easy to play, but it definitely sounds not easy. But I really also like how that whole section is like a breakdown, but it's not a breakdown, because there's still like the lead guitar going on in the background and there's still vocals, but just the whole chugginess of it and the way that there's so much space in between the notes is really, really awesome. I love this song, specifically in this section on this bridge breakdown type thing. The guitar work is awesome. And then leading out of it, when the big power chords hit, and then the drums are doing a crazy fill, and then another double hit, and then more crazy drum fills. Really, really good energy. And that drum fill, where it's like super, super fast, hitting the toms and the bass drum over and over, is insanely fast, and it sounds so cool. I know how to play it, but I'm not fast enough to play cleanly.
Right, yeah.
Because their drummer is insane. I don't know his name or what other work he's done, but I've always like secretly thought to myself, like, if I could just inherit the drum skills of one drummer, it would either be Belmont's drummer because he's crazy technical, or With the Punches because he's just insanely fast. He plays so crazy, and it's awesome. But anyway, the outro lead is really, really sick. I love during that outro part where he does a bend that doesn't quite hit the note that it's going for, but it's intentional. It's like when you have an accidental in a song and it's like, oh, like I could tell that was not supposed to be there, but like it was intentional and it sounded good. So that spicy bend right there is really sick because it like just barely doesn't reach the note it's going for, but that's kind of the point, and it sounds really good. And so I really like that outro part. And just the lead throughout this entire song is so good. This was also the first song that introduced me to like really fast double bass patterns. So in the intro, the bass drum has like that 5 consecutive notes where it hits them really fast. That whole concept of like hitting 5 bass drum notes super, super fast like that I think this is my introduction to that style of playing those notes so quickly. There's a couple other songs that do this obviously as well. They didn't invent it, but this was my first introduction to it, and this one always sticks out to me. Because when I tried learning it for the first time, I was like, holy crap, that is way too fast. How could anybody do that? And then as I got better, it becomes a little bit easier, but it's still crazy fast. Yeah, that's it for me. This song, I didn't put it as S tier, but it definitely slaps.
Track 10 is called No Blood, No Foul. Wow, I wrote a timestamp and then I wrote lyrics, so I don't even know what that means. Oh, so much of growing up was losing touch for good with so many old friends that I'd get bummed out if I had a doubt that they'd ever even notice. I just thought that was, like, relatable. I just like those lyrics. Overall, I really like the energy and, like, just the vibe of this song. Oh, 235. The end lyrics I've always loved. I just love how they end that song. Well, one, I really like the lyrics, but I also just love, he's just yelling, get a life and then we'll talk, and then it's over. Everything cuts out. It's done. I just love that.
Well, I'm going to open this one with S plus tier song alert. S plus tier song alert. This, you might not know this, but this is my absolute number one favorite song of all time.
Wow.
I love this song. This is, yeah, like if someone asks me like what my favorite song is, if I had to listen to one song for the rest of my life, like this song is it. I love this song. So not only was it super influential for me when I was first getting into pop punk, this was one of the first bands and first albums that I kind of listened to. And this song always stuck out to me. This was one of the first ones I learned how to play on guitar as well. Not one of the first ones, but I remember distinctly learning like how to play this song. I think the intro riff is really sick and really easy. It's just like bouncing between two different notes and then chugging for a couple of different notes after that. It's very, very basic, but I just love like everything about this song. It has great energy throughout the entire song. It's like very upbeat the entire way through, which is one of the main draws for me for pop punk, is I like how upbeat it is. I don't really go for like the like minor sounding stuff or sadder type sounding stuff. I'm mostly in it for like the upbeat type stuff. And this song all throughout is just constantly just like positive and upbeat and energetic. So I love that intro riff. I think it's really cool how the post chorus, when it basically changes the time signature from 4/4 to 3/4, so all the notes are coming in like an upbeat right before you would normally expect it, and so it gives you this extra punch when that guitar riff is playing, where it's bouncing between the power chords. It goes two notes of power chords, and then it plays two notes of lead, so it goes like bum bum, or it has three power chords, so it goes like 1, 2, 3, and then two notes of lead, and then three more notes, bum bum bum, bum bum bum. You know, it bounces back and forth, but it's cool because again, it's in that 3/4 time, and so it punches in that extra beat early. Sounds really sick. I love the whole bridge part. It goes back to the intro riff, but then one of my favorite parts of the whole song is when it kicks back in with all the instruments, because during this first part of the bridge, it's just the drums and the lead guitar kind of thing. But then it all kicks in with the rest of the instruments. And one of the other members of the band, I don't know who it is, but they're like they're screamer, for lack of a better term. He doesn't actually scream, but he just yells the lyrics, "So I guess," and then everything kicks in. And that is like the sickest part of the whole song, I think. Every time it gets to this part of the bridge, it is so good. It's just, "So I guess," and then everything blasts in. It's so sick. I love this so much. And then there's obviously huge energy going into it with the double bass starts kicking in constantly, over and over, and it like leads out into the outro of the last chorus, which up until this point, the choruses before were in halftime, but then this last chorus is in normal time, so the drums or the snares playing on the beats that you would expect it to be played on. So it just gives that extra oomph to the final chorus and extra drive because it's going twice as fast as it was before. And the outro guitar parts, it's all just so sick. I just love this song. The whole structure of it, the energy of it, the guitar parts of it are good. The drums are really good on it. This is S plus tier song. This is like my favorite song of all time. Not just on this album, but like ever. Like this song always sticks out to me. I'll be listening to this song till I'm dead. So that's all I got.
I love that. I did not know that. I mean, I knew you loved like with the punches and like this EP and stuff, but that's awesome. I love that. I did not know that. That's so cool.
Yeah. I got lucky when you suggested to do this one for the pod. I was like, what? Like, I love this album.
Dude, yeah, dude. I love With the Punches. Track 11 is called Dead Weight. The only main thing I had with this one, well, just one quick lyric that I really liked. He says at 55 seconds, "It's all right for me to feel this way, just wrong to keep on faking it." I think, I don't know, I liked, my roommate right now is kind of, she always kind of goes through a lot of things, like, by herself, and she doesn't, she kind of hides the way that she feels and kind of, like, puts on a mask and, like, lets everybody see that she's doing okay, but she's, like, not really. And so I read that, those lyrics stuck out to me. I didn't ever really catch on to those until this, I guess, personal experience now in my life is happening. But I like the lyrics. It's all right for me to feel this way, just wrong to keep on faking it. Like, it's okay to be sad or to go through stuff, but if you're, like, putting on a mask and saying you're okay, and everything's not really fine, like, that doesn't help anybody. So anyway, I just really liked that. The guitar solo at 2 minutes, 6 seconds is one that I vividly remember Hunter learning in his room. You probably learned that one too before he did, right?
I was gonna say, not to steal his thunder, but I definitely learned that before he did.
As I was listening to it, I was like, wait, there's a video of Dad videoing you playing that. I was like, wait a second. Yeah, but I totally remember. I know you obviously learned it first, but I also remember Hunter would, he learned this one in high school, and I remember he would use, was it called Practice Pro, where you can, like, slow it down and loop it? Yeah, I vividly remember him doing that to this song in his bedroom once. Yeah, that's funny.
S-tier alert, S-tier alert.
Oh, I love that.
So this song is right underneath No Blood, No Foul, but this song slaps. Okay, so I'll touch on the parts you touched on already. So the solo from the bridge to the very end is really awesome. It's also unique as well because the solo goes throughout the entire bridge, but it also goes through the entire outro as well. Like, it doesn't stop until the song does, basically, which is kind of unusual. It's interesting. It's also the reason why I learned most solos are played on, like, the higher strings or higher up on the frets when you're playing the guitar, is because it pierces through the mix more. The first half of the solo is obviously on the higher strings and it's higher pitched, but then during the second half, once the lyrics kick back in, there's a lot of parts on the solo that dip into the lower strings and lower frets, and it gets a little bit muddy, and you can't, like, totally pick it out as easily as you could on the higher octaves. So it was just like a little musical learning experience for me. I was like, oh, like, that's why solos are always really high pitched, because if you're playing, like, on the low strings and then the low notes mix in with the bass and with the drums, and it's too hard to actually pick it out and tell what those notes are. So you can go back and listen to it if you want to understand what I'm talking about. But that second half, there's a couple of parts that are really low, and it's hard to pick them out exactly. But anyway, that's besides the point. Really awesome solo. Yep, goes until the very end of the song. Very unique. I love learning how to play this solo. It's like one of my go-to things. If somebody says, like, play something cool, like, this is, like, one of the go-to solos that I would play. This was, like, my first, like, actual guitar solo that I learned. I had learned other lead parts that were kind of solo-esque, but I think this was, like, my first big, like, guitar solo. So I really, really like that for this reason. One note while I'm touching on the end of the song as well is I really like the positive message that the lyrics have at the very end of the song. I don't know if you have the lyrics pulled up or not, but he basically is talking about how he knows he's happy now. He repeats that line over and over again. He says, like, I know, I'm happy now, and all this stuff. And then during that second half of the outro, he says, this is the last time that I'll compromise, and you can keep what's left of your dignity. I'll take my chances chasing down what's mine. So it kind of has this, like, upbeat tone of, like, he's not compromising anymore. He knows that what he's doing is making him happy, and, like, he'll take his chances getting what he knows he deserves, and, like, he's kind of on the up and up. So I just like that positive message of how he repeats those lines over and over. I know that I'm happy now, and so I think that's really cool. The other part, the last main part of why I also love this song is, if you haven't recognized it after I explain this, I encourage you, I'll give you a homework assignment to check this, but this is the Remy experiment. So remember the movie Ratatouille?
Yeah.
You got Remy and his brother, what's his name? Emil or something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
They're outside the restaurant. He's telling them, like, oh, like, you don't want to eat garbage food, like, here, like, try this. But he gives him two different things. He gives him a piece of cheese or corn or whatever it was. I think it was cheese. And he tells him to just eat the cheese. He's like, okay, like, focus on these tones and the creaminess of it or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, and then he gives him that strawberry piece or whatever. He's like, okay, now take a bite of this. And he's like, okay, so now this has a different flavor and whatever. And it's like, both on their own really good. But then you combine them, and then you get this crazy new flavor. You know, it's like, whoa, okay. So this is what I call the Remy effect, or the Remy experiment. So the guitar parts for this song, and a lot of With the Punch of songs, actually, I think they mix all their guitars like this. They have one guitar always hard left and one guitar always hard right. So this entire song, basically, especially during the verses and the pre-chorus and everything, each guitar is basically never playing a rhythm part. So you have one guitar doing the strawberry and one guitar doing the cheese. But basically what's happening is they're both playing leads for almost the entire song. There's very few parts where they're playing like power chords or rhythm stuff. So it's interesting if you take off your left headphone, for example, you hear just the right channel, and that whole guitar part is doing its own guitar lead stuff throughout the entire song. And then vice versa, you put in the left earbud and take out your right, and the left guitar is also doing its own lead guitar stuff throughout the whole song, but it's completely different than what the right guitar was doing. And so when you put them both together, it's really just the bass guitar that's holding down the actual rhythm of the song, but the way both of the lead guitar parts are completely different, but they complement each other so well is so awesome. I don't think I know even one other song that does what this song does when it comes to those guitar parts. So I encourage you to go back and listen to this, the main parts of like the verses, one earphone at a time, and then put them together, do the Remy experiment, and you'll see what I mean. But I don't know of any other song that does this, and I think it is sick. I remember when I learned this song, I learned both different lead parts throughout the entire song, so I could just mix and match and play whichever one I liked more. And yeah, so this song is super, super unique from that perspective. I think it's super awesome, and just has solid energy throughout. Has a really sick solo, really cool long extended outro. Yeah, total S tier song, no question about it. In my opinion, I love this song. It is so good. Yeah, I think that's all I had on this one. But yeah, mega S tier alert. Do the Remy experiment. Listen to the lead guitars on the left and the right. It's awesome. Yeah, it's cool because mostly when it comes to rhythm guitar as well, just a random side note for music in general, pretty much when you record your rhythm guitar, it's mostly just doing your power chords and stuff, right? You will record two different versions of it and play one of them on the left speaker and then the other version of it on the right speaker. You would never know that that's what you do, but if you can tell if it was just one rhythm guitar part playing in both the left and right, it sounds like it's mono, like it's flat. But when you play the exact same power chords on the left and then do a second take of recording those exact same power chords and pan it to the right, that's what gives you like that big wall of sound. Again, you would never know unless you A beat it next to each other. But again, that's why I like this song so much, is because it doesn't do that. Each guitar, the left and the right, is panned to the different channels, left and right, and they're doing completely different things, and neither of them is playing like the big power chord rhythm stuff. So it's just super unique, and it totally works too. It's so awesome. So anyway, I'm done.
No, that's awesome. I love that. Track 12 is called Hulk Hands. This was back in junior high school when I was listening to them a lot. This was my favorite song on this EP for a while. Yeah, I don't really know like why. Maybe. Well, I said the lyrics are really, I wrote the word moving, which I don't really know what that means by that, but I really do like the lyrics. Something that you used to do that I love that all the music that we had back in the day on the computer, I don't know if just you did this or if Chris did it too, but
no, it was just me.
It was just you? Yeah, you'd censor all the bad words and stuff. I thought it was so, I never knew at 152. I didn't know that he ever said the S word there because you edited it out, but you kept the instruments in the back. I could tell that like something was weird about it, like good luck with the woulda coulda, and then it sounded different and it sounded funny, but you like took out that word. And I remember when I listened to the real song, I think it was when we got Apple Music. We changed from like iTunes to Apple Music, and Apple Music became a thing, and so everything, we got, like, the real versions of all the songs and stuff. And I remember listening to the song again, and I heard, you know, what he says, and I was like, whoa, I like that. I just never knew that that's what he said. But for some reason, I've always loved that line with good luck with the woulda, coulda, your dreams will never come true. I don't know why that part when I would listen to this song always stood out to me, and I really liked it. Anyway, I just thought it was funny that, like, I never knew that he said the S word there, because it still, like, made sense to me. Like, it didn't like hinder from the message of the song, for me at least. Anyway, I like that. I also really love the outro of this song. I just love the repetition of every question weighs a ton. Is it so wrong that it can't be undone? Is what this lyric says. I don't know if that's accurate. Okay. I really love vocal outros, especially when they're just like vocals. But I also really like the gang vocals in this. And I love that I've always noticed it. There's this one guy.
I was going to bring this up.
Okay, good.
You brought it up to me years ago, and now I can't. I mean, I heard it, but now every time I hear it, I go, oh, yeah.
It sticks out. Yeah. There's this one guy that goes, because the main guy, I think the singer's name is Jesse, I think. When he sings it the first time, it's him singing it, and he goes, every question weighs a ton. Is it so wrong that it can't be undone? I don't know. He goes up with it. Or sorry, no, he goes down on the word it, and but everybody else in the gang vocals, they either maintain the note or they go up, but there's one guy in the background that, oh dang, now I don't even know if I'm saying it the right way, but there's one guy that right. he goes up or he goes down.
The tone of the word it, so the next word, but he sings the previous word. So is it so wrong? He says the word that at the same note as the word it.
Right.
When everybody else, so he's wrong by singing those two notes consecutively, because it climbs down a note. So is it so wrong that it can't?
Yeah.
And so those three notes, he sings the word can't, or he sings the word it with the tone of can't. Right. And then he sings can't with the same tone again. But everybody else is not singing in that way, and so he sings a note lower than he's supposed to.
Yeah.
And then, so it sticks out just a little bit if you're listening to it.
I've always heard it, and I think it's so funny. It doesn't, like, bug me, but I just notice it. Like, I can just hear it. It's just there.
Almost like his voice cracks, or like he couldn't sing that note right, and his voice, like, fried for a second. Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. Man. It makes me laugh, too.
Anyway, that's all I had with this song. But.
Yeah, this one I had that I was going to bring up. I figured you would talk about it because you were the one who brought it up to me. So now I can't I can't unsee your face listening to this, knowing that happens. Like every time I listen to it, I just think of you. But I really like the very intro is really sick. It's just the bass guitar. He is blazing on that bass intro, and it's really cool because you usually don't hear bass players playing that fast. But and then this one also kicks in with the really, really fast bass drum as well with the guitars. And then it leads into the main intro, and then it kicks in, and it does the classic which every punk song does. Mm-hmm. But this one is really solid overall. I like the song as a whole. It's not one of my favorites compared to the other ones on this album or on this EP, but the bass intro always sticks out to me, and it's like super, super fast. I don't think I've heard of any other bass part that plays that quickly, and so it always sticks out to me. I think it's cool, but I didn't have anything else major on this one. Like I said, it's not one of my most favorites on this section. It gets outshined by all my other S and S plus tier songs on this one, so it doesn't quite. I don't listen to it as often, but I still like it a lot. Definitely nothing wrong with it, but that's all I got for that one. Just in summary, it's pretty rare for me that I have so many S-tier songs on one set of albums, or even these two albums. On all these songs, out of the 12, I have 3 S-tier songs and 1 S-plus tier song. Like, that is very, very rare for me. Yeah, I absolutely love With the Punches. They were like one of the very first bands that I got into, or that got me into pop punk. It was 4 Year Strong's Rise or Die Trying album was like one of my first intros that I really liked, and then With the Punches, these two albums here. In fact, I remember when Chris left on his mission as a little closing thought. Chris left on his mission. I got his old iPod Touch, and it had all this music on there. And I remember sitting in the game room one Saturday, playing some like helicopter game. You have to like put out fires and save little civilians or whatever. But while I was playing this dumb little helicopter game, I was listening to the EP, It's Not the End of the World, which is the last 5 on this one. And I just remember distinctly sitting on the couch up in the game room, listening to these With the Punches songs, playing that dumb little helicopter game. And that was like what started ingraining me into pop punk. And I was like, oh wow, this is kind of cool. Like I didn't know that I liked it at the time, I don't think. But this album, or these 2 albums, like really shaped why I listen to pop punk now, basically. And so I think With the Punches is definitely one of the OG bands for me, which is really a shame that not more people know about them, because these are like one of my favorite, like all-time favorite bands. I love With the Punches. These 2 albums are so good, but they don't have like hardly any listeners on Spotify. And their best song, Burned at Both Ends, does have 2 million streams, but that's like nothing compared to other big pop punk bands. Like, so it's just crazy to me that they flew under the radar, because they are like just so unique and so much better in my opinion than like all these other bands. So anyway, those are my closing thoughts. I love this band, and it's a shame they aren't more popular.
I was just thinking that, because I mean, they just came out with like an EP like a year or 2 ago or something, right?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah, and I thought that kind of was like, whoa, what the heck? What are they? I didn't know that they were still, or at least kind of like Vera, they kind of started releasing some stuff, and after a long period of time. But same, I agree. I wish that they were bigger and more well known back in the day and stuff, because they're awesome. I remember vividly one summer, I think it was the summer connecting like junior high and high school. I listened to them. I mean, I had been listening to With the Punches, and I knew who like they were from your guys' music and stuff, but I just remember laying on the couch upstairs just listening to all of the songs that we had by them, and I did that like for a while that summer, I feel like. But there was just like this one time that I remember just like listening to them, and I just didn't stop. But anyway, I love this band. They're very good.
Same. I didn't know you liked them as much as you do. I thought they were just going to be like, oh yeah, like they're cool, but no. I'm surprised.
Yeah, I really like them. I agree with everything that you said about them, because they're very good. I can't really pinpoint. I also really, really love this guy's voice. That's what kind of stuck out to me. I mean, vocals always stick out to me, but this guy's voice I've always really loved. And it's just like one of those voices that like brings me back to junior high, because like it's just so that's just when I was listening to them. But his voice is really like a nostalgic voice for me, and I really love it.
I was going to say how I feel like they're super unique sounding. I can only name one pop punk band that I think is similar in style and like execution overall, and that would be No Pressure. They still don't even hit it like 100%, but they share the same themes of obviously really fast paced songs. They're always very upbeat, and the guitar riffs and stuff are usually very memorable for me. But other than No Pressure, like I still think With the Punches sound and vibe overall is very unique. There's really not a lot of other bands where I'm like, oh wow, like they sound a lot like this, or oh, they're comparable to this. Like State Champs versus Neck Deep, like very similar overall style. They got the fast-paced songs and they got the slower ballad songs and whatever. Very, very comparable, very similar vein, right? But then like With the Punches, it's like I don't know of any other band that sounds just like them. Like they're. So that's another reason why I really like them. They're very unique, but they do everything that I love about pop punk, which is I think why I have so many S tier songs from them, is because all the things that I like about pop punk, they do them in a lot of their songs. So it's a shame there's not more like them. I do like No Pressure again, because they are similar in vibe. They got that fast pace, they got the energy, they got the upbeat chord progressions and style. Other than them, there's really not anything else that even comes close to the overall vibe that I get. I don't know if that makes sense to you, or if you agree or disagree.
No, I totally agree. I was actually thinking as I was listening to this, I was like, where do they even fall in genre? Because, like, I don't know another band that sounds like this. Like, I was trying to think, I was like, where would I put them? The vibe that they are is just so, I mean, they are pop punk in a way, but it's also more early. Or they weren't early 2000s. They were kind of late 2000s, early 10s. It's kind of where they fell. But yeah, again, I like was thinking about it. I was like, man, what kind of, I can't peg them into like one genre because it doesn't, there's just kind of a mix of a lot of good things, and they don't sound like anybody else. And yeah, so I agree. I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
But I'll end it there because I'll probably come up with more crap to say and we'll go on forever. But
Cool.
I love this band. I'm
Yeah,
done.
same. That's all we got this week. Catch you next time.